obese passengers and people with personal hygiene issues. Now, abused TSA staff vent their anger at pat-downs. And they say, we don't like sticking our hands down people's pants. We don't like having to go up under people's fat rolls. We don't like having to mess with medical sutures. Since when does the government go into bandages and probe them like a medical doctor? Since when do they remove colostomy bags and urology bags, artificial bladders on the outside of people? Please don't touch that. Please don't pull on it. Oops, sorry. Urine's pouring out. TSA just says, clean yourself up. Searching little 5-year-olds in public, pulling women's fake breasts out who've had mastectomies, sticking their hands down people's pants. Now that we force the sticking the hands down the pants into public debate, the head of the TSA said, that's wrong. We're going to change that policy. See, they tried to quietly set the precedent to stick their hands down our pants and thought we'd just go along. But by speaking out and saying no, they're having to back out. Now, will they stage an event? Last week, the German plane was a, quote, U.S. firm testing security. They won't say who. That was a drill. You got a drill with this North Korea situation triggering. They always use a drill. And they had drills going before they attacked the Russian-controlled enclaves of South Ossetia and Abkhazia 2 years ago, trying to get war going. Drill, 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 drill. They use drills. Because most people on the ships, most people in the airports, they're compartmentalized. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand what's happening. They just go along with all of this. But I've studied the globalist psychology. I know how they operate. I know what their game plan is. We'll continue to break it down. But that's coming up. Now the TSA are saying they're victims. And they're trying to unionize. They have a union now in the last few months. They just got one. But they're trying to say no to all of this. Now, some Republicans want private people searching us, but I don't want private people sticking their hands down my pants either. You know what? I'd rather face the danger than live as a slave. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Hello, Alex Jones has told you about the delicious, safe, easy-to-fix, and very storable food from eFoods Direct. He's also told you that eFoods Direct has the best food on the planet. Well, here's the great news. It's that time of year, and their holiday special is here. 2 holiday-priced packs for you to put into your reserve for a secure future or share with others. The first is a 6-month bulk supply in number 10 cans, and the second is a 5-week supply of quick and easy meals, including delicious bakery items shipped in heavy-duty totes. Both are special values for the holidays. When you order 2 or more of these special holiday packs, you'll get free shipping on the entire order. These holiday packs are always special combinations of food that are not available at any other time of the year. Call 800-409-5633 on the web, efoodsdirect.com/Alex. That's 800-409-5633 on the web, efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Folks, you've heard us talk about Home Gain before. Home Gain is now offering a special promo where you get up to $150 when you buy or sell a home with a Home Gain agent you find through their Find a Realtor program. Home Gain lets you compare realtors anonymously. It's easy. Go to homegain150.com to find and compare realtors anonymously. Enter promo code HomeGain150 and receive up to $150 when you close a deal with a Home Gain agent. Share the Home Gain 150 promo code with your friends via Facebook, Twitter, text, and more. Look for Max, the Home Gain Gorilla, to find out more about how Home Gain is going to pay you. Visit HomeGain150.com today to enter your promo code and get paid for buying or selling a house. That's HomeGain150.com. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones asking you for a minute of your time to tell you about soap. Not detergents, but good old-fashioned pure soap made by the Cal Ben Soap Company, a family-owned and operated American company. My family, staff, friends, and radio listeners are constantly telling me how much they love these products for bath, hair, laundry, and dishes. There is nothing like these factory-direct, big money-saving, triple-concentrated soaps anywhere. Get a free detailed catalog by calling 800-340-7091 or see them online at 5starsoap.com or Infowars.com. Let's talk to the owner of 5 Star Soap, Marty Schachter, and see what he has to say.
As founder and owner for over 63 years, people keep asking me, how's business? I'm happy to say our business is going down the drain. Call us at 1-800-340-7091. Visit our website, 5starsoap.com, for buying our 1 to 2 month soap sampler. Thank you.
We now take you live
To the Central Texas Command Center.
in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't think of a better time to have Congressman Ron Paul on with us. He's only with us about 20 minutes. I want to get into the Korea situation, the TSA, the quantitative easing too, the monetization of debt. I want to get into Rand Paul winning and what that signifies, the fact that Ron Paul and Rand Paul have announced that they're not going to be joining the Tea Party caucus because some of the leaders of it are people that voted for the bailout. We're going to be discussing all that. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you again.
Of that constellation of things I threw out, what do you think is most important right now?
Well, the cause of liberty. That's always my number one goal, and that is related to the deficit because the bigger the government, the more the government spends, the less liberty we have, and that involves what we do overseas as well as we do here. So it's been the same old story, and of course that's closely related to our financial system and our Federal Reserve because it would have been brought to a halt if they couldn't have been, counterfeiting the money.
You know, I'm seeing Wall Street Journal, New York Times headlines every week now saying Ron Paul was right, pointing out that everything you talked about in those debates and got laughed at by a minority of fools has now come true. What's your view on quantitative easing? Are you going to get the Banking Committee chairmanship? Where are you going in your interrogation of the Federal Reserve?
Well, I'm assuming I'm going to get the chairmanship, but, until it's done, you can't be absolutely positive, but I'm working on the assumption that we will. And I think most everybody will know where I stand on the Federal Reserve, although my position is to abolish the Fed, and I read a book called End the Fed. I also take a stand that, even if I could, I wouldn't close the Federal Reserve in one day. I think they're going to close itself when they have runaway inflation that destroy the dollar, and that's what's so dangerous. But I would still argue the case for legalizing the Constitution and competition and allowing gold and silver to be legal tender. So everything they do is incorrect because they're managing the money supply and they're managing interest rates, and that's where the source of the problem is. And just recently, some Republicans have come out and they say, what we need to do is take away some of the responsibility of the Fed because they're supposed to be, since 1978, they were supposed to deal with unemployment. Which, it's true that was a silly thing to do, and they give us they're the ones who give us the unemployment. They can't produce employment, but but removing that is almost irrelevant. It's the fact that they exist and manipulate interest rates and mess around with the money supply, and they're supposed to give us stable prices. Whether or not they have that additional mandate is missing the whole point. It's almost a distraction.
Absolutely. I'm sure you noticed 2 weeks ago when the Chinese government said they want transparency on the Fed and basically called for an audit. We now have foreign governments and the biggest owner of our debt calling for some transparency of this group.
Yeah, sometimes when our Congress wants to tell other countries what to do, I object because we ought to mind our own business. But, if you've invested $1 trillion or nearly $1 trillion in our dollar, they've almost earned the right to say something about our management of our dollar. But the hypocrisy is for us to lecture China because we think their currency is too weak. And yet that's all we do is work on weakening our currency. So it's going to, come to a boil. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for the world. I don't think it's good for us, our economy, and it's going to lead to a lot more trouble, mainly because everybody has a fiat currency and everybody's trying to manage to outmaneuver somebody else, and they just don't believe in sound money and they don't believe in free markets.
Congressman, is this next session of Congress, the new session starting next year with the Republican majority, do you think in your gut this is the this is going to be the Congress working with your son in the Senate that is finally going to get a real audit of the second largest holder of our debt, the private Federal Reserve?
I think it's going to still be an issue. I think the auditing the Fed will come up again. There'll be some more votes. We will get bits and pieces of information that we haven't had before. But a real audit, no, I'm not expecting it. But that doesn't diminish my desire to pursue the issue. Because, you know, even if we did finally get the votes in the Senate and came out in the bill, a president would probably veto it. And if he didn't veto it, the Fed is going to stonewall us, or they'll go to the courts, and they'll get a favorable ruling on the courts that they don't have to do it. So it would go on and on. So it's more likely we're going to find out about the Fed when they self-destruct, where they really just ruin the system and they no longer function and become irrelevant, and people will be forced to use some sound money, that is, use of gold and silver coins.
I remember 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, you basically, with precision, as a medical doctor, as a congressman, as someone who studies economics and has won awards in that area, that as time went on, you saw the self-destruction of this system through dollar devaluation coming. Obviously, we're getting closer to that. What type of time frame do you see, Congressman?
Well, that's what's not possible to predict, and everybody wants to know. Investors need to know, or they need to make estimates. I work on the assumption that it could come anytime because there's no foundation to our system, no foundation to our money, no support for the currency other than the promises of our politicians and the Federal Reserve. And they're losing, people are losing confidence in those entities constantly. But I think they tend to pull stuff out of the fire more than we ever dream. It doesn't deserve to exist, and they've really messed it up, and we have these tremendous deficits. I still think they could keep this thing going, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. But to say that, it's going to be safe, so if you see interest rates go up, why don't you go back into buying long-term bonds? Because, in 10 or 15 years, there will be no problems, and you can have confidence in what they're doing. I think it's way too early to expect that.
Well, is it accurate to say this is a debt black hole, and we're seeing this now in Ireland, not just in Greece and Portugal and Spain, and that the bigger the bailouts, the more it just accelerates, the final implosion?
Yeah, and everything is based on the dollar. We're in all this trouble, yet they can't bail out these countries or states like California. Everybody gets bailed out, but the base is the dollar. The dollar is the reserve, and we're still getting away with it. We're still printing the money, and they're taking as much as China complains. They still, buy some of our treasury debt less than they used to, but they have so much, and they don't want to crash it. So, but there's going to be a limit, and the markets are more powerful than the governments and the central banks. I keep thinking back because I watched it so closely in the 70s and in the 60s, because they kept pretending that gold was the dollar was as good as gold, and it was at $35 an ounce. But finally, the market overwhelmed. No matter how many lies they told, people lost confidence in it, and they had to quit the game because there wasn't people called them on it, and they wanted their gold.
So the buck stops.
Eventually, that's going to happen again.
So the buck stops with a buck. Now racing through